What is even happening right now? We have multiple bombshell Spurs draft reports as Brian Wright was once thought to be a shoo-in to draft Dylan Harper. New reports indicate that this is likely not even plan A, with the Philadelphia 76ers also reaching out to San Antonio about moving up. New questions arise about San Antonio drafting someone else like an Ace Bailey, or even not picking at 2 or 3 in the draft at all. We have to dive into the new report from Michael Scotto indicating the Sixers reached out about moving up from 3 to number 2, and some other supplementary reports that indicate Dylan Harper might not even be plan A for the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs looking to move up from number 14 in conjunction with this trade. There's a lot we got to get into. Let's not dilly-dally, straight into it. I love saying that. I don't know why I always say it. It's just a thing I say. Breaking! The Spurs have engaged. The Sixers have engaged with the San Antonio Spurs about potentially moving up to the number 2 pick. I gotta calm myself down here. It doesn't help that I just downed about a full cup of coffee right before doing this, because I needed to get focused. This is insane, okay? Look, Dylan Harper, again, we thought this was a lock, right? I've been saying for weeks, hashtag team draft Dylan Harper. This is seeming less and less likely as the days go by now. Now, I want to preface this by saying I think this could very well all be smoke from the Spurs side, but this cannot really be smoke from the Spurs side. I suppose it could, but I don't think they would lie. I don't think someone from the Spurs would go out and say, yeah, the Sixers reached out to us, like without there being something real there. And so the actual quote here from Michael Scotto was, sources, the 76ers have engaged with the Spurs about potentially moving up to the number 2 pick. For now, the Sixers have zeroed in on 4 NBA draft prospects with the number 3 pick, including a private workout last week with VJ Edgecombe and Ace Bailey visiting Philadelphia next week. Now, VJ Edgecombe reportedly had a great time with the Sixers. They went out to dinner, I believe. It seemed to be pretty much a lock for the number 3 pick, and there have been reports in the past of Daryl Morey not being as high on a guy like Ace Bailey. So I had just thought, okay, cool. The Sixers are probably going to pick VJ Edgecombe. I don't mind that. I thought he might go 4 or 5, but going 3 to the Sixers makes sense. He's a solid player. But then you see this, and it's just like, really? The Sixers, I've heard, I don't know how true this is, but they are reportedly pretty high on Dylan Harper. But the Sixers have another interesting situation similar to San Antonio in that they have a couple of great young guards already there. Now, Fox is not, I guess, young per se, but he's not that much older than a guy like Tyrese Maxey. He is, but still. Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain are the 2 great guards there in Philadelphia. Of course, McCain had a great rookie of the year, had a great rookie season, I should say, was in contention, but then got injured. So anyway, you have him and you have Maxey, and in San Antonio, you have the Rookie of the Year, Castle, and De'Aaron Fox. So it would confuse me if the Sixers wanted to go up to 2 specifically to get Dylan Harper if they didn't plan to move one of those guards. Then again, I think Harper can fit with anyone. So this right away, I was like, okay, this is interesting. But when you bring this up with the reports that we got yesterday from Sam Amico saying there actually will be some mystery in the NBA draft and it starts at number 2, that's the pick belonging to the San Antonio Spurs. And while everyone has them taken, Dylan Harper, sources say that it's not a done deal, perhaps far from it. And we had some rumors about, hey, maybe the Spurs are high on the fit of a guy like Han Knuppel. So, I didn't think trading down was really an option. I thought the Spurs would just take who they thought was the best player at number 2. But now we're hearing that the Spurs may even trade up from number 14, which is something that we've floated out there, not something that has really been reported. But Brett Siegel came out today, piggybacking off of that Michael Scotto report. The Spurs have discussed multiple trade scenarios with teams regarding the 14th pick in this year's draft and moving up from this spot. It's likely that this thinking with the 14th pick is in conjunction with Mike's report about the Sixers. So from what I can gather from these reports, and let me know your thoughts on all this down below as well, this to me seems like the Spurs are not enamored with the idea of drafting Dylan Harper at number 2 and pairing him with the roster that we have right now. And I'm assuming this is pre-Kevin Durant trade or pre-whatever else, right? So there's a few options we can take from this, right? One, the Spurs don't want Dylan Harper, and they like a guy like maybe Ace Bailey as a fit better. In that scenario, you can maybe take the number 2 pick, trade it down to number 3, where Philadelphia gives you some extra assets to draft the guy that you believe is a better fit. This is speculation, but let's say the Spurs like Ace Bailey a lot as a fit. Now, there have been some red flags with him, including his height. He's reportedly just not 6'10". He's like 6'7". Anyway, but if they like Ace Bailey, trade down from 2 to 3. If that's what the Spurs front office wants, hey, I'm cool with it. But you draft down 2 to 3, right? Trade down. You get some extra assets from the Sixers that could help work on another trade. You also like a guy, for example, like Concanuppo, like Jonathan Givony said, he's probably the best fit for the Spurs of any lottery pick, maybe even anyone in this draft. So maybe you like him. You use some of those assets you got to trade down from 2 to 3, and you trade up from 14 to get a guy like this. That can make a lot of sense too. Or, hear me out, you decide that, hey, we do want to do this Kevin Durant trade, but the Phoenix Suns are kind of not budging with the 14th pick here. So if we're talking about moving the 14th pick, why not move from 14 up in the draft to somewhere, higher than number 10, somewhere in the top 10, and then you use that pick to trade with whatever, Vassell and Harrison Barnes to the Phoenix Suns in order to avoid giving up a guy like Jeremy Sochan, for example, who has been linked in these trade talks. Because right now we know that the Houston Rockets are in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes. They're the number 2 favorite behind only San Antonio. And one of their big chips in this trade is that they have Phoenix's first round pick this year at number 10 overall. So if the Spurs can move up from 14 into something higher than 10, we can now offer better draft capital. I mean, we could already do it, but we can offer a better pick in this year's draft, plus a player that is already good in Devin Vassell right now, and a veteran in Harrison Barnes, something like that, for Kevin Durant's services. And that could also make some sense. So this is just throwing a wrench into everything. Like, I don't know what is happening right now. This went from me thinking, this is a shoo-in, we're getting Dylan Harper, I can't wait, we're going to have a guy who can push for Rookie of the Year again, at Wemby, Castle, Harper looks great, I know Flag is amazing too, but hey, you never know. I mean, maybe Harper wouldn't have been Rookie of the Year, he'd be coming off the bench. But now, over the past 24 hours, everything has just been thrown out the window, and we're getting reports like this. And like, again, yesterday, at first, you saw the video of me and Brian, I thought this was all smoke. To be honest, like, Spurs front office saying this stuff, maybe just to get people, maybe more hype for Dylan Harper, blah, 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 up the trade value of some stuff. But I don't know about that. And we also have this here from Spurs Reporter on Twitter. Now, make of that what you will. I know some of you like this account, some of you don't, whatever. But regardless, this is just a quote from Kevin O'Connor that he's saying. So this is not just Spurs Reporter take. This is from Kevin O'Connor. No matter what the Spurs are signaling ahead of the draft, I'm not convinced taking Dylan Harper is plan A. That is, look, I know Kevin O'Connor sometimes has some sources, sometimes doesn't. He loves the draft. He's big time into the draft, obviously. But to boldly say that, like, to me, this is like an idea that I didn't even have in my head. Like, I just thought Harper was plan A. Those are the reports that we got out of San Antonio, that Dylan Harper was what the Spurs wanted to go with, really liked him. Like, again, he's straight up the second best prospect in this draft, and I am always a proponent of taking the best player available. Right now, that is Dylan Harper at number 2. There is no question. A guy that would go number 1 in a lot of the recent draft years. He looks unbelievable. We've all seen his highlights at this point. We've all accustomed ourselves to visualizing Dylan Harper in a Spurs jersey alongside Castle and Fox in that backcourt of the future. But now to hear that this might not even be plan A, there's some mystery. The Spurs might not actually pick Dylan Harper. The Sixers are talking to the Spurs about moving up from number 3 to number 2 because they like Dylan Harper. The Spurs are looking to move up from number 14, likely in conjunction with some trade that involves the Sixers moving up from 3 to 2. Like, so if that's the case, Sixers move up from 3 to 2, the Spurs get the pick 3, and then the Spurs trade up from 14. Maybe we take picks 3 and 8 instead of 2 and 14. Would you guys rather that? I still think I want Dylan Harper. I don't know what's happening. I feel like my whole worldview on the Spurs has shifted, but I need to hear from you guys. This is honestly unbelievable right now. I need to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, because look, that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We have all the latest Spurs news coming out every single day, and if you don't want to miss a single thing, just like stuff like this, hit that free button down below. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.